Topps baseball cards are nice. Topps Gold baseball cards are nice, numbered, and nice. Happy hobby, I'm David Gons, and once again this is a YouTube channel for sports card collectors working with a limited budget, and today's video is actually about working with a limited budget when trying to acquire some Topps Gold cards.
I love gold!
But right now I'm going to explain the history of Topps Gold, and I'm going to explain to you why I want to get a big pot of Topps Gold cards.
But before we go any further, I want to make sure I remind you, Wednesday, May 3rd, 9 p.m. Eastern, we're doing my very first YouTube live video. We're going to give away the contents of a box that we got from cardlines.com, a Cardlines crate, if you will, of NBA cards, recent packs. This is something that they sell on their site. They donated it for us, so for us to use for a giveaway. So we're going to be giving that away. It's not going to be this Thursday, Wednesday, May the 3rd. Remember that, 9 p.m. Eastern. I might have a guest. We got a whole bunch of stuff planned.
We're going to give away cards. We're going to give away a bunch of stuff for free. So make sure you're there for that. For free!
Free Willy!
Okay, so let's talk about the history of Topps Gold cards. Now, think way back. 1991, Topps created a couple interesting sets that were parallels, basically, to their main set. They had the Desert Storm set of cards. They had the Tiffany set of cards, which they had done for a couple previous years. Those were very popular. And Topps started thinking, with the overproduction of cards, with the junk wax going on, this is a good idea. We could make a parallel of our cards, and they become chase cards. So let's do that. So they came up with, very smartly, 1992, Topps Gold was introduced as the very first true parallel set of the base cards from Topps. Now, whatever was going on in 1992 for Topps, their marketing team was all over it.
Maybe you should think outside the box.
They got rid of wax wrappers. They finally just went to the plastic wrappers that we see today. They got rid of the gum. No more gum in cards. No more gum stains on the card. That's pretty awesome. They got rid of the horrible cardboard stock that they were using, and now they went to white cardboard stock, which was much better. And then, of course, the first paralleled series, Topps Gold.
Gold!
Now, since there was no eBay at that point, it was very difficult for a card collector to fill a set of Topps Gold cards. The way it worked was you get a pack of cards, and there was one Topps Gold card in that pack. So you'd have to, with 700-something cards, if you wanted to fill out a full Topps Gold set, you'd have to buy 700-something packs and not get any doubles, which obviously that's not going to happen. So think of how many cards, how many packs you'd have to buy to get a full set. So Topps said, you know what? People like to collect sets. They like to put sets together, they like to collect. Let's go ahead and sell a Topps Gold, 1992 Topps Gold complete set. Now, it was a pretty high price at the time, and so it was a little difficult for people to buy, but they rewarded you. If you bought that Topps Gold set, you would get a special card in there, an autograph of Brian Taylor, the #1 pick from the 1991 draft by the New York Yankees. What can you imagine if you owned that Brian Taylor? I mean, it'd be worth upwards of $30.
That stinks!
Brian Taylor did not pan out. He was a bust. Now, imagine if they did that in 1992, when the Yankees' first round pick was Derek Jeter, and maybe they had autographed cards of Topps Gold for that as a giveaway. Those Topps Gold sets and that autograph card would be worth a lot of money right now. But instead, Brian Taylor, who's famously become one of the poster boys of junk wax bad investments from back then, he did not pan out. But it's a pretty cool story, and actually there's people that collect that card because it's an interesting story from that perspective. Now, another interesting twist that Topps did was they had this Topps game inside the packs. It was a match the stats card, and what you did is they had 8 different spots, kind of like a the infield and the outfield of a baseball field, and you'd scratch 3 spots on that card. You scratch those off. And if it revealed the same stat on each of those 3 spots, then you were a winner.
Want to be a winner, be a winner.
And if you were a winner, then you could send that card in to Topps. They would send back to you 10 Topps Gold cards. So that's pretty awesome. However, it got compromised because people figured out if you put a flashlight behind the card, you could see the stats that were on it. So they would just scratch those and send it in. So what happened was the cards that came back that were part of that redemption had a gold stamp on there that said winner. And so it was the same card, same Topps Gold card as the other one, except it had also winner stamped on it, which is pretty cool. However, because apparently there were more cards, which this is just crazy to think, there were more cards turned in that came back as winners, that there's more winner cards out there than there are the regular Topps Gold cards. So the winner cards are not as valuable as the non-winner cards, which is weird to think. Now, the most valuable Topps Gold card, this Topps Gold winner card, was actually Ken Griffey Jr.'s. It was like 3rd or 4th season at that point, but his winner card is actually, you can get that now between $5 or $10 online. That's a pretty cool card. It's not a bad card to get if you like Ken Griffey Jr. So then Topps did the Topps Gold set for a couple more seasons, and then they stopped after the 1995 season. I'm not sure why, but they brought it back for their 50th anniversary. Now remember, they did their 40th anniversary in 1991, and that was a big success as well. Those cards, that base card had that 40th anniversary stamp, and fans loved it. Collectors loved it. So here at 2001, which we just did the video on the most valuable 2001 Topps cards, the 2001 Topps set was their 50th anniversary, and they brought back the Topps Gold cards, but this time they numbered it to 2001, the year that those cards were manufactured. It's been that way ever since. Every year since, the cards are numbered to that year. So now once again, Topps comes out with basically the very first parallel numbered cards. And when it's numbered, that means there's only a finite amount of cards because it's numbered. So you have an idea of the production run on those compared to the base cards, which you don't know at all how many of those cards were produced. So numbered cards better. Numbers, always better.
My patron number, my home number.
So why do I like Topps Gold cards now, looking back and looking forward? Why do I like them, especially for budget-minded collectors? Well, they're not that expensive, even if you're buying singles on eBay. Now, there are some very expensive ones, but if you are prospecting, so to speak, you can buy some Topps Gold rookie cards of some players that maybe haven't blossomed yet, and hopefully they turn into something a little bit better, and that investment down the line comes through for you. Now, since they're not ultra low numbered, they're not super expensive because of that. They're, 1 in 50, they're going to be very expensive, but 1 in 2023, that's a lot less expensive. And a lot of times people like the low number of a card, but maybe they don't like the color. Like, for instance, a lot of people don't like the orange parallel cards, even though they're low number. I'd rather have a gold, even though it's numbered to 2000. I'd rather have the gold rookie card. It's much cooler. It's much nicer to display, in my opinion. And Topps Gold, it's just historic. I mean, think of this brand now. We've had almost 25 years of the Topps Gold numbered versions since 2001. Like, we're getting into 23, 24 season. Like, it's getting up there. That's pretty cool. So it's historic. It's traditional. I like that. There's something behind it. It's not just something that's new and flashy. And it's reliable. Next year Topps is going to have a Topps Gold series, parallel series in that set. In 2025 there'll be a Topps Gold set then numbered to 2025. So it's reliable. It's something is always going to be there. So here's an example on how a Topps Gold can increase in value. So 2 or 3 years ago, I really wanted to get a Topps Gold Shohei Ohtani rookie card. The industry was going nuts. It was $150, and I was like, oh man, I don't know if I'm willing to spend $150 on a non-autographed card. So I held off. I was like, maybe it'll drop. Maybe it'll drop. So as all the other cards in the industry dropped, that Shohei Ohtani gold just kept on increasing. Now it's up to about $400 if you want to buy that now. And of course, I very much regret not buying it then.
You disappoint me, Goldfinger.
Now, obviously, all cards aren't going to do that. There's not all Shohei Ohtani cards out there. They're going to increase like that. But getting in on a cheaper card with the potential to increase greatly is always a good thing. Now, I will say this about gold cards. One problem with Topps gold cards is because the gold border basically replaced the white border. There's chipping and whiting, and you can see sometimes the edges get a little white, so it's tougher on grading is my point. Okay, so next I'm going to go through the cards that I've purchased, Topps gold cards that I want to share with you. And then I'm going to give you my picks for some cards that you might want to pick up as well. Now, obviously, the cards I have, you might want to jump on too, because I jumped on them. So, obviously, I think they're good pickups. But tell me about the ones that you pulled and maybe the ones that you've purchased and anything else that starts with a P. So, whatever you do, make sure you have a happy hobby.
I love gold.